You're listening to Ants Talk.
Dominique Geary hails from the UK and he's the anti-fitness trainer. She thinks the fitness industry is a £60 billion con and that most trainers are teaching people the wrong thing. Dominique dissects the fitness industry and gives you the real rundown and the real advice. Thank you for chatting to us today, Dominique. How are you?
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Good to hear. It's bright early in the morning for you and nighttime for us.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely not a morning person, so I hope I can put together full sentences for you.
See, I'm the opposite. I'm a morning person. I'm worse at this end of the day. Now, listen, I was just wondering, how did your journey start?
Well, I kind of fell into becoming a fitness trainer when I was 18, just, kind of looking for a job, and the local sports centre was doing like free lifeguard qualifications. So I jumped into that and they shoved me in the gym. And went to uni to study surfing, climbing, kayaking to be like an outdoor pursuits instructor, and then realised that there was no way I wanted to do that for the rest of my life. So kind of fell back into fitness training. Worked for a few local sports centres and stuff for the next however many years, 10 years or so, and then decided it was probably about time that I opened my own gym.
That's fantastic.
So, yeah.
What a great thing to fall into, though.
I know. And turns out, luckily, I was pretty damn good at it. So, yeah. It all worked out okay.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, but then I opened my own gym. I had that for about 6 years and was coming kind of progressively sort of morally against the whole ideas of gyms, and could see the really important bits that they were missing out on teaching people. And then the universe conspired, and after 6 years, the landlord sold the building that the gym was in. So I had to look for somewhere new to go. Every single place that I looked at completely fell through, and the cogs were ticking in my head. And I realised, actually, do you know what? This is not the way forward for most people. So end off the whole idea completely to start the Anti-Fitness Project.
Wow, I love it. And tell us about the Anti-Fitness Project.
So I firmly believe that most people don't need to use gyms. We've all been told for, I think it was since about the sort of 70s or 80s, when someone picked up on a really flawed study that cardio makes you thin. So the marketing people and the business brains behind everything decided that, then we could open gyms, we could sell memberships, because before that, gyms were pretty much just for bodybuilders. So gyms opened as we kind of know them today. But the truth is that most people don't need to go to a gym to lose weight. They just need to eat a little bit better and move a little bit more. And that doesn't include a 30 quid a month gym membership.
It's so funny that you say that, because I live in Adelaide now, but I'm from Sydney, and Sydney is the gay mecca of Australia, and it's all about how you look, the body. Yeah. Everyone goes to the gym, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I was involved in that whole scene, and I've always been. I never did sport at school. I hated it, but I did get into fitness, sort of in the years that I was in Sydney. And the funny thing is that, time moved on. 6 years later, I met my husband. We've been now together for 7 years. We're married, et cetera, et cetera. Good old happiness in married life turned me into a fat old man. And the funny thing is that through that whole time, I ran every day. And I've always run. Do you know what I mean? But as you said, if I'm not putting the right things in my mouth, then it's not going to, you know what I mean? It's
bodies and our brains do really really clever things. So if you go for a run, you're highly likely, and there's been like a few studies about this, but you're highly likely to either come home and treat yourself with food because you've done a good exercise, or you won't move as much for the rest of the day because again your brain's going, you've done your exercise for today, so now you can sit on the sofa.
I also think that I know it sounds funny, but it's probably true, that because my weight went up in size and I was continuing to run like I did, I actually think it had more of an impact on my joints because I was carrying more weight and having, and all those joints were bearing more weight as I was running,
Yeah, definitely. And it's not just your weight that you're putting onto your joints, but it's the extra pressure of I'm not really a physics person.
Yeah. It's funny though, because most husband and I both, started, improving our diet and getting rid of a lot of the sugar and carbs in our diet. And it's made such a difference. You know what I mean? And it really
it has.
That thing that they say, what is it, 70% food, 30% exercise, is
definitely
absolute gospel. It really is. It is the way it works. You know what I mean? Like the food is the evil part. It's not about having to go and, work out every day and run on a treadmill and lift weights. And I mean, they're all for different purposes.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily needed. And the funny thing, going back to your original point, is that I've noticed in a lot of the guys that I sort of look at on Instagram and Facebook that are, healthy guys that do training themselves, train other people. It's funny because a lot of the guys that I really look at their bodies and I think, oh my God, their body is amazing. They're guys that actually don't just do the gym. They do yoga. They do, just stretches on a beach. They pull-ups on anything that they can find, and that's what, I think that's the true secret, is just to get our bodies moving and,
Exactly. They just have generally active, healthy lifestyles.
Exactly.
Rather than, you can achieve this an hour at the gym. But most of the people on Instagram don't look like that normally.
No. Oh, God, no.
No, they fast. They probably haven't drunk any water for, the 24 hours before they've taken their photos.
And you've also got all those, fantastic people now that are showing you their edited photo compared to their real photo.
I love that.
Also how they pose in photos, because, from someone just being relaxed in a photo to sucking it in and doing the right sort of turn on their body can take kilos off, No,
exactly. It's amazing. But they've kind of dedicated their entire lifestyle to looking like that. I'm a trainer. I do not have a six-pack. I don't want one. I'm not willing to give up the things that you need to give up to have a six-pack, unless you're kind of genetically gifted anyway. That's not my theme. That's not my jam.
I was the same when I was exercising a lot. Life just wasn't fun. Do you know what I mean? Like, you just didn't get to enjoy anything. It was all about
give up a glass of wine.
I know. Why? That's it.
Steak is lovely.
Exactly. Because I think that's the thing. Like, sure, you can look good for maybe 20 years, maybe 30, maybe 40. Who knows? But you aren't going to remember how many times you went to the gym when you're lying on your deathbed. I think you're going to remember that beautiful glass of wine you had over in Italy, or, that croissant that you ate in Paris or something like that. They're the things you're actually going to recall. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And no one's going to be remarking on the fact that you're 80 years old and, wow, they've still got a six-pack.
Yeah, exactly.
Who cares?
Yeah, no, I agree. I completely agree. So where do you think that most people go wrong starting a fitness journey?
I think most people have this kind of all or nothing approach what they do, and they try and change everything straight away. So they could go from a really sedentary lifestyle where they spend their day sat in the office and then sat at home watching TV, eating all the rubbish in the world, and then they join, I don't know, say a CrossFit gym where they then go for working out 6 days a week, really, really hardcore, and eating nothing but kale and chicken breasts. And that's never going to work, because you've spent however old you are, you've spent all this time building up the habit of your movement and your eating, and then you're trying to change every single habit you've built into your life in one go. And white knuckling your way through is never going to work.
I actually notice a lot, even in the gym that I just go to, I notice a lot of the trainers. I mean, it's obvious that this person's working out for the first time in their life, probably.
Yeah.
And this trainer is pushing them way too far. Do you know what I mean? Like, I see it all the time, and I think to myself, how is that healthy? Like, not just healthy, but how is that going to change their habits? Because they're going to go home. They're not going to, because I've been in the situation where I've gone with a trainer. I've done arms. Just say, I go home, I can't even wipe my backside because my arms are that sore. Do you know what I mean? Like,
exactly, and that's not a fun life.
And but so these people, sorry, go on.
I think I blame programs like The Biggest Loser for this change in how trainers coach people. Because the difference between being 18 and watching how trainers would talk to teach people now it's ridiculous. Beginners, we're used to teach as beginners. You maybe get them on the treadmill walking for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But now, since The Biggest Loser, you're either beasted by a trainer or that's it. Like, unless you've got a photo of yourself on Facebook throwing up after your workout, it wasn't a good enough workout. And that's so dangerous.
And I mean, you look at majority of those people like on those shows, like The Biggest Loser, majority of them have gone back to what they were, There's very few of them. I mean, even here in Australia, I think that really out of everybody that we had go on those shows, and I think we ended up having maybe, I think there was probably about 5 seasons or something. I think maybe 4 people have maintained it and really maintained it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
some have put a little bit of weight back on. Some have gone back to, even their original sizes, where it really is only about 3 or 4 people that, really did change their lives.
Yeah, because on that program, like, their entire day was dedicated to it. They had, nutritionists making sure they only ate 600 calories a day, and they were beasted at the gym for 4 or 5 hours a day, and that's not sustainable in real life.
No, of course not. I don't know who and whose life, but definitely not mine.
I know.
This is Ants Talk.
What is the biggest con in the industry, would you say?
That we have been told that to lose weight, you must go to a gym or you must go on a diet. And for 95% of the population, that's just not the case. They're just not active enough, and they're putting way too much junk and carbs and sugar into their body. And also, I firmly believe that if you are vastly overweight, like, we all know what to do. We all know what decent eating looks like. We all know what good movement looks like. But there's something in your mental makeup that's stopping you from doing those things. Yeah. So I firmly believe that there's a case of the happier you are, the more you're going to want to respect your body.
Very true. I think that's the thing too, is that a lot of people, I mean, the thought of having to go to gym before you go to work is just so daunting and so, or even after work, even worse when you've got even less energy.
Exactly.
Where I think if people,
fun.
No. And I think if people realize that, you can help your body purely by just maybe walking to work rather than going to the gym, just walk to work. It's going to get your body moving. It's going to, you're going to get your physical exercise and probably your limit for the day anyway. And then just watch what you eat.
And, instead of meeting up with your mates at the pub, like, go and have a game of frisbee on the beach, or, go for a walk, or go have a game of badminton. Just do something that's not sitting around putting more calories.
And still have that beer on the beach.
Exactly.
Because they're still moving.
Or vodka and orange, less calories, 1 of your 5 a day as well.
That's it. Or even gin and tonic, even less calories.
Exactly.
And what are some tips for people that are wanting to start to get fit, do you think? And in your way, like, what are some of the other activities that they could do?
So I think the key thing is find something that you genuinely love doing. So if you think back to, secondary school and think back to the types of activities that you enjoyed, like, was it going for a walk with your mates after school? Was it, playing hockey, doing your PE lessons? Is it, was it dance? Find something that you genuinely love and you don't think to yourself, oh my God, I've got to go and do this thing. Instead, you're thinking, wow, I get to do this thing.
Yeah. And for people like me that actually avoided sport altogether and hid in cupboards so you didn't have to go, then my advice would be to just try things. Doesn't mean you have to do it forever. You might just do it once. Do you know what I mean?
There's loads of really cool new activities coming up, like pole and climbing and loads of really cool, interesting things.
I mean, I that's how I found out I found out I loved to run. Was because I just started doing it one day, you know what I mean? And then also I attempted yoga and did that for a whole year and absolutely loved it. There's so many things out there, and especially these days, I mean, pole dancing classes, whatever tickles your fancy, really. I mean,
and that's such hard work. I tried it the other day.
I'd love to try it. I just think, I think I might have to lose a little bit more weight before that happens.
See, this is the other thing as well, is that people don't try things because they think I must lose some weight before I can try it.
True, very true. I just think of the thud when I hit the ground. Too funny. Why is your approach different, would you say?
I'm hearing a lot of trainers at the moment that are attempting this whole kind of body confidence thing. You don't need a six pack, and they're trying the whole, let's take all the rubbish out of the fitness industry. Let's tell you exactly the science behind what's going on. But they're still saying to you, and go to the gym as well.
Yeah.
And I think I'm the only personal trainer that I know of that's actively saying to people, don't go to the gym unless you genuinely enjoy it.
Because I think that's the thing too, is that especially when you are starting on a fitness journey, and I mean, I was always quite lean anyway. I mean, it's only been in these last later years, because I'm 50 now, where weight has become an issue for me, because it is a lot harder to lose. But I never had an issue with weight when I was younger. And, the first time I went to the gym, I was so intimidated, even though I was thin.
I know.
Do you know what I mean?
Terrifying.
So I can't even imagine for someone that is overweight and it's the first time they've ever been to a gym, how they would feel walking in, because, I mean, I know how I felt. I felt that people were looking at me going, oh, what's he doing here? What? So, I can just imagine how other people would feel walking into a gym for the first time.
Oh, lost a bit of internet there. Gyms are terrifying places. And the gym that I used to own, we let kids in as well.
Okay.
So that kind of as they grow up, they were sort of used to gym environment. So it wasn't even a thing to go in. And, the new adults coming in to start using the gym, because there were kids around using the equipment, they were far less intimidated coming to it.
That's actually a great idea.
I really like that. Yeah, I really, really like that about it. And it made it much more fun as well.
Actually, that is interesting. I wonder why more kids aren't allowed or don't do it. That is an interesting point.
There was this whole ridiculous theory that it would stunt their growth if they lifted weights.
Ah, right. Oh.
Which has been proved is completely untrue. But I think a lot of trainers just are too scared to do it because of, getting sued or injuring someone. Yeah. So they just think, let's just have a policy where they're not allowed in.
Where, half your adults are just as stupid anyway. So really, we should be worried about all of them.
Yeah, it was never the kids that got injured or broke the equipment. It was the adults.
Yeah, exactly. Do you think the attitudes to fitness alter around the world?
I think they probably do. I think different places in different parts of the country in different countries, but different emphasis on how good you look.
Because I know that in Sydney's a very when you're there, you notice the fitness thing straight away. There's a lot of people that look amazing. They look great. Their bodies are rocking. You'll see them running up the street in the morning, going to work. You'll see them running, going home. It's also, the weather is perfect for it, so they can show off their bodies, et cetera, et cetera. Where in the UK, it's not like that. Do you know what I mean? Especially when it's cold.
Exactly. No one wants to be outside running at 5 o'clock in the morning around here.
In the snow, especially.
Even in the UK, you find different places put different emphasis on activity. Like you go to Oxford, and all you'll see is people cycling and jogging. And I don't know if it's necessarily to look better. I think it's more to kind of be healthier. I think it's a great attitude to have. Because if you think health, then, your body goals will just come naturally anyway.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
Yeah, I listened to somebody chat the other day about a couple of studies that are happening in America, that if people that go to gyms with the aim of losing weight aren't likely to stick to it, but the people that go to gyms with the aim of improving their health are far more likely to stick to it and keep it going. And then they just lose weight naturally anyway.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting.
What do you think of personal trainers? Do you think that's necessary?
I think personal trainers are amongst the most narcissistic people that I've met. And I think that they have a really unhealthy attitude towards their bodies. The amount of trainers that I see come in with their same broccoli and chicken and rice every single day. And they, are taking so many supplements that it can't be healthy for them. I think they're more interested, and obviously this isn't every single trainer, this is based on my experience, that they're more interested in what they look like than how healthy they are.
I often find too that the pressure of the job, because I mean, I don't know how it works over there, but over here, I know that, you know, we've got a big, I won't mention the name, but we've got a very big chain of gyms here. And I know that the personal trainers that work there, they get charged almost like a rent or a fee that they're paying. So they've got to make they've got to do enough clients to make that rent each week. And it's not a small amount. I mean, in some of the gyms and in some of the locations, it's actually quite large. And I found that because I'm always observing when I'm at the gym, and I've noticed that with a lot of them, they're not even really focusing on their client. They're either on their phone trying to book the next appointment in, or off into fairyland because, you know, they've had a 5-minute brain fart and they're not actually focusing on anybody. And it's like, shouldn't you be watching them? Because like, even in some of the situations, I've seen the person that they're training and they're not, and I mean, I don't call myself a trainer by any strength of imagination, but I've been at a gym and been working out for many years, and I know how to do things. And looking at these people, I'm like, you're not even, your form's terrible.
Stop. You're going to get injured.
Exactly. Like, I actually worry.
Awful. But this is the other thing why most people don't need personal trainers, is that a lot of trainers, especially the inexperienced ones, they're just glorified rep counters.
Yeah.
And like, your client can count to 10.
That's
like,
it.
You should be fixing their form. You should, you know, not just counting for them.
And I suppose it's, you know, it's going back to your point of you don't need to be at a gym to be fit. So, you know, if you're on a fitness journey or you want to begin one and you want to just start somewhere, it is by just doing something that you enjoy, whether it be going for a walk, or I think that for most people, and I mean, even when I've struggled with my own weight, the easiest thing for me to do is walk. Do you know what I mean? And even though sometimes it's like, could I be bothered? Once you're out there and you've taken that first, say, you know, 100 steps, you're into it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You put headphones on, you can put my podcast on.
Yeah, exactly.
Off you go, you know?
No, this is the thing. It's all about doing something that you can keep doing for the rest of your life and that you enjoy doing. And if CrossFit 6 times a week, if you're not planning on doing that when you're 70 years old, don't even start it now.
That's it. So actually on that point, I don't know if, I can't really say the name. There's another gym here, another style of gym, and it's become very big at the moment. And it's a group fitness thing where people will go to a gym and they sort of do interval training, I suppose you'd call it, so that, you know, it's half the time some of the people are doing a lot of, you know, this, and then the other half are doing that, and then they swap. And so obviously you're aware of what I'm talking about. So you have those gyms over there also?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, so it's kind of like a boot camp type. Type thing. And
what's your opinion of those?
Most of them, I mean, I'd like the idea because you are getting, you know, all the good bits. You're getting bits of cardio, you're getting bits of strength training. But again, a lot of them have this whole attitude of, unless you're throwing up at the end, you didn't work hard enough. I think they just go in way too hard too soon. And that suits some people. That suits some people's mentality and the way that they want to train. But I don't think it serves the majority of the population because we hate hard work.
Yeah. We do. And I mean, it'd be interesting to see if they actually broke those classes into something like beginners, immediate, advanced. Because, I mean, that's the one thing too, is like, there's nothing worse than standing in a class. I mean, I used to remember when I used to do aerobics and all that sort of, even yoga, and I'd be in the class, like, you know, first day, can't even touch my toes, and hear these people, you know, putting their heads through their legs, and it's like, oh, you know, there's nothing more intimidating than someone doing it way better than you.
I know, exactly. And it will put people off, and it will make them not ever want to try anything new again.
Yeah. And I think that that's what we've all got to realize, is that even though, I mean, unfortunately, fitness classes of any type are set up like that. So it's something that we are going to have to face, unfortunately. But hopefully also, if people can actually, you know, find you and learn more about what you're doing, they can have a different approach to their fitness.
Absolutely. And know that they don't have to go to a set thing to just be more active and healthier. They don't have to pay their 30 quid a month membership. They could do it themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, you could do every single bit of strength training that you could do in a gym with a 20 quid suspension trainer in your own house.
Yeah. What I often do is when I'm even in the kitchen and I'm just waiting for like something to cook or boil or whatever, I'll actually just do sort of push-ups on the bench.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like lean on the bench and my feet are still on the ground, but I lean on the bench and just start doing push-ups. You know what I mean? Because it's small things like that. Going. Yeah.
It is little things. And, you know, every time you lift your shopping out the car, every time you pick up your kid, that's strength training.
Yeah.
You don't need special equipment to do it. You have everything you need around your house.
It's funny because my husband...
everything you need in your body.
That's right. My husband's funny because he'll actually go, I didn't go to the supermarket. And I'm like, why? And he goes, because I didn't have the car. And I'm like, I walk from the supermarket with bags and bags and bags of shopping. Do you know what I mean? Like I actually find it quite good because I feel like, especially because normally I've already been for my workout, I'm then walking home. I feel even better because I've then done weight training after, you know, my little workout.
Yeah, get some little bicep curls going with your shopping bags.
That's it, exactly. Now, how can people find you, Dominique?
So I have a website, the antifitnessproject.com, or Facebook's a really good place because I'm forever putting like, you know, little tip videos on and, you know, telling you this is what you're being told, this is the actual truth.
Yeah.
And that's at the Anti-Fitness Project as well.
So the Anti-Fitness Project, everybody, on Facebook, and also antifitnessproject.com on the website. Thank you so much for chatting to us. I've really enjoyed it.
You.
No, my pleasure, my pleasure. Fun. And have a beautiful day.
Thank you. You enjoy your evening.
Oh, I will indeed. Dinner time. Healthy choices.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Thanks so much.
Cool. Thank you.
Bye.
Ants Talk. It's like Oprah, but not.